Welcome everyone. Welcome to Chapman Chat. In this show, we meet and we celebrate our champions and our partners that help Chapman Partnership live out our vision, which is no one sleeps on the streets. I am Kavaja Sarduy. I'm your host for today, and I also serve as the Vice President of Operations for Chapman Partnership. Today, we have some amazing guests with us. We have Maritza Luna, who is a Senior Director of Housing Navigation. She also comes with a wealth of knowledge in the housing field. We also have Paul Imbrone, who works with Miami-Dade County Homeless Trust on a specialized project, which is Rent Connect. Welcome.
Thanks for having us.
For those of you who are unaware, Chapman Partnership is one of the largest homeless assistance centers in Miami-Dade County. On a nightly basis, we are responsible for caring for over 800 individuals. And we do that through our comprehensive programs and our services in collaboration with others in the community to make sure that we help our clients overcome homelessness and also achieve and maintain self-sufficiency. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and talk about Maritza and Paul. I want to talk about a very touching subject, which is about the lack of affordable housing here in Miami-Dade County. As we all know, this is a nationwide issue, the lack of affordable housing. And one of our missions and our goals for Chapman Partnership is to ensure that we can connect our client to permanent housing pathways. And so with that being said, we all know that there's a major challenge. So I'm going to start with you, Maritza. Throw this question over to you. If I'm an individual or a family and I'm unhoused and I'm living in the streets, what is the first steps for me to get connected into Chapman Partnership?
So thanks for having me. The first step is calling the homeless hotline. Call, register, whether you're a single family, we need you registered. We need you to, put in your information and get that done. Once that is done, we get you into a shelter, we get you into a bed, and then we start off with working our magic. We assess the need of every individual. We want to make sure that we are providing the services that are needed for the family and or single. We want to be sure that we're understanding the client as a whole. Right. So again, register with the hotline, call that 1-800 number. And it is the 1-800 number. What am I talking about?
It's the homeless helpline, the 1-877 944-4357. Yes. So I know Chapman Partnership has a very unique approach. So can you elaborate on what our approach is?
So Chapman is unique, and Chapman is very dear to my heart because Chapman does not separate families. Chapman serves the entire scope, whether it is a single, whether it is a single male or female. We serve families, we serve veterans, we serve everyone from all walks of life.
Right.
So we keep our doors open to all. The other unique thing about Chapman is we are managing the coordinated entry system for all families in the COC. So everyone in the continuum. Yeah. So there's a lot that's happening, under our scope.
Yeah, and Chapman also has 2 facilities, one in Homestead and one in Miami. So that's how we're able to care for over 800 individuals on a nightly basis. Now, I know you're over the housing team and housing navigation, and this is such an incredible department that you're managing. How do clients find permanent housing? So now say we have a client that's in Chapman Partnership, and they're getting all their essential items and things that they need, but how do they connect to permanent housing opportunities when they're there?
So The first thing is that we want to make sure that we're providing thorough case management, right? We want to be sure that we are connecting clients to the appropriate housing stability. We're creating roadmaps to their success. So they find permanent housing by one, being employed, if they're able. We want to make sure that we are doing everything that we can to get them housing ready. And that can consist of so many things. But the main thing is making sure that we are finding a unit that is in the scope of their needs. Again, that pertains to, we have to evaluate them as a whole.
Right.
So we look at where something as simple to us would probably be, oh, my doctor's appointment is across the street. It's not a big deal. For them, everything is a big deal.
Right.
The clients we serve, we want to be sure that we are looking at it in a holistic way, that we want to be sure we are looking at their medical needs. Do they have transportation to get there? Is their unit in the right space for them? Many come from, again, different backgrounds. So some have, substance abuse issues. We want to put them in the right environment. We look at, again, their children's school even, how far, what's the distance? So it becomes a very sometimes complex issue when we're placing them in permanent housing. But the idea is to make sure that we are not overlooking anything and that these clients are going to be happy when they find, and not only are they going to be happy, but are they going to sustain into permanent housing?
That's very, very important. And it's also important that you are using that client-centric model for housing. What is the best housing for this individual or family? What meets their needs and their wishes? And that's something that we do take pride in doing, making sure that it's comfortable for that individual or that family. So I'm going to go ahead over to you, Paul. Can you tell us a little bit about how Rent Connect collaborates with Chapman Partnership on the housing piece?
Sure. Excuse me. And thank you for inviting me today. So Rent Connect's responsibility is to identify, recruit, and maintain good relationships with landlords. And in doing that, our landlords come to us from a variety of different resources. We do a lot of networking out in the community. We have referrals from landlords that maybe have done business with with either Chapman or another partnership for a long time, or through Section 8, and they want to learn more about our program. We spend a lot of time explaining to them the different types of residents that we seek to house. We understand the property that they have to offer, and we are looking specifically for low-income and very low-income residents. So we're looking for properties that serve the community at fair market rate or below, and preferably below the fair market rate. Our clients, we reiterate the fact that our clients come pre-screened. And by that, I mean, we're going to work with the Chapman Partnership team when we have identified a unit. We will work with the housing navigators at Chapman Partnership, and we'll try to match the best unit with the needs of the individual client.
So can you tell me, what challenges do you encounter through Rent Connect when you're trying to connect with the business community or landlords or property managers?
Well, property managers are in the business to make money, and we understand that. We appreciate that. Their primary concern is that they want their rent paid on time. They want a quiet resident, and don't destroy the property, basically. Those sound like three simple questions. So we work with them on that. We'll go in and we'll interview not only the landlord, but then we'll do property visits to make sure that the property in and of itself meets the housing quality standards set forth by HUD. And some of the challenges are location. Our need is countywide. So anywhere from Florida City all the way up to North County. And while there may be a significant number or a good number of available units, sometimes the areas that we need the units are more expensive
Right.
than what our clients and our programs can absorb.
Right. And so we definitely utilize your services and your database to help find units for some of our clients who are within our centers. Um, and
And may I just add to
yeah,
that?
sure.
So the Rent Connect program, once we've identified a landlord, we enter it into our proprietary database system. It's very similar to affordablehousing.org or rentals.com.
Okay.
It is proprietary in the sense that it is only accessible to participating providers within the continuum of care and landlords. And so we'll be able to, an individual will be able to go in there, a provider,
Hmm.
and let's say you have a resident that maybe has some criminal background history, or they've had past evictions. We're going to know in our interview process with the landlords which landlords are willing to give individuals a second chance and work with individuals that have had past evictions or some criminal background history, depending on what it is, and so on and so forth. So we really try to streamline the process, put it all into one database to make it easier for both the navigating team at Chapman to use, but also the other navigators throughout the system.
Yeah. So do you go ahead? Go ahead, Maritza.
Sorry, I just want to add to that. On the client perspective,
Mhm.
one of the things that we really run into that becomes a barrier is the amount of rent. Obviously, we know the fair market rent across Miami-Dade County is sky high. And unfortunately, our clients' wages, they don't go as high. And so having to meet that need and having to find an affordable unit for a particular family or client that we're moving out becomes a challenge. Not impossible, because we make it happen, every month, every day. We're moving clients out successfully. But that is a barrier.
Yeah.
Finding affordable housing that our clients can actually, afford the rent and maintain it. Because if they miss a day of work, if they're sick, if their children are sick, it's an issue,
Yeah.
a strong issue, actually.
Yeah. Creates more challenges for a family or a person. So, Paul, quick last question for you, really quick. Do you only work with Chapman clients?
No. We work continuum wide. So there's approximately 26 providers throughout the continuum of care in Miami-Dade County. And, the names are very common and known in the community. So we do work with all of those individuals similarly to the way we work with Chapman Partnership. We also work with community partners, the NGOs, the non-governmental organizations, or community programs such as the United Way, Catholic Charities, Jewish Community Centers, Lutheran Services. Everybody who interacts with an individual that may need housing assistance, whether they're coming and they're gainfully employed and they can afford the rent, but they just can't find a unit that meets their needs, or they're an individual that perhaps needs a temporary subsidy or a full subsidy. We open, our opportunities to everybody, because again, our goal is that nobody sleeps on the streets.
That's amazing. Thank you for that. Maritza, so what does it mean for a client to be housing ready? So we understand that we're dealing with the unhoused population. Someone comes in a Chapman partnership. And how do we get them housing ready?
So it's one of the big things that we consistently and constantly work on is documentation. Because our clients come from all walks of life, not everybody walks in with an ID.
Right.
Not everyone walks in with, a social security card and so forth. And landlords require at least the basics, right? If you're going to rent out a unit, and they want us, they want to be our partners. Our landlords are fantastic. But they need just the basics. So documentation is key. Getting them document ready with an ID, with a birth certificate, with bank statements if they have. Nowadays, everyone is using like Cash App and Venmo and so forth. So anything that shows the income coming in, landlords want to see that. They want to see that after our assistance ends, we provide short-term rental assistance. after our assistance ends, will they be able to sustain?
Right.
So, you know, documentation is something we ponder on tremendously at Chapman Partnership. And then after that, you know, we want to make sure that they are employed and they keep employment. So we provide them with, you know, we have an amazing employment department that connects our clients with employers all across Miami-Dade County. Then we have, you know, we create budgets with them. So make sure that our clients understand what it is to create budgets, to understand what it is to maintain after they've successfully been housed. We also have, which something else I find unique, going back to one of your first questions, is we have a support service department that we don't just leave the client at the doorstep once they left. After they've been successfully housed, we provide a case manager that follows them for up to a year. We want to make sure that these clients are following up with everything they did while they were at the center with us. Are they still maintaining their budget? Are they still paying their rent on time? Are they paying, you know, their electricity on time? Did they have a hardship? If they had a hardship, our support services team comes in, makes referrals, you know, comes in and again looks at the entire scope of the family and or single and say, okay, how can I still step in? How can I help? So we don't just walk away after they've been successfully housed. We hold their hand. We want to make sure that they're successful. And something that I like to pat myself on the back on is we do the entire part of a client coming in. We don't just drop them off at the doorstep. We make sure that we are servicing them as a whole.
Right. It's just a whole holistic approach. From the moment they come in to when they leave, they still have that support and that community to help them while they transition into self-sufficiency. So I love it. I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
May I just add one piece to this?
Absolutely.
So you mentioned document ready. Document ready is critical. When a landlord has an apartment available and they're going to take it offline to potentially rent to one of our clients, we want to make sure that before we send a client to look at the apartment that they are document ready, because that property is coming off the market, right? And so if there's something that is not complete and it delays the process, we want to mitigate that from happening. We want to make sure that doesn't happen because we want to be understanding of the needs of the landlord. And I will say that many of our landlords are really they're great because they understand this and they'll work with us. And some have held units for a period of time under certain circumstances, but we really appreciate that in our landlords.
Yeah. On top of that, we also have landlords, pardon, I wanted just to add to that, because we have landlords that obviously are being referred through Paul and through Pad Mission and Rent Connect and so forth. But we also have a pool of private landlords that, you know, have a one-on-one relationship with our navigators. And because they've had, you know, I have a navigator that has been with us for 20 plus years. So they've built this relationship with that particular, you know, landlord. And, you know, they kind of want to stay connected to that individual. So sometimes passing the baton, you know, doesn't always work. But fortunately, these landlords that, you know, are kind of individualized, they want to stay connected with us, and they want to be able to provide Chapman and you know other clients within the COC, you know, how can they help? How can landlords leverage and meet us in the middle, you know, to what the needs are of the client? Not everyone does that.
Right. We have some amazing partners in that field, and I just want to highlight that they're our champions because they're helping us do the work that we do on a daily basis.
And they're willing to, like Paul was saying, they're willing to kind of turn a blind. Like if we know clients have, an eviction or a criminal background or whatnot, it's okay. They look at when did the incident happen.
Right.
You know, most HOAs, unfortunately, if it happened, you know, within a certain time frame, you know, they want to steer away. But you have some that are really looking at, how can I serve?
Right.
What could I do? You know, is it okay, you know, just to turn a blind eye? It doesn't matter if it happened, you know, 2 weeks ago or a year ago. I'm going to give this client an opportunity.
So they're being flexible with our population of focus,
Very
which
much so.
also helps us to ensure that we're able to provide these permanent housing opportunities for the most vulnerable population. They just need this second, third, fourth chance. They just need people to give them opportunities. And the portfolios that you both have are amazing, and your landlords, they're just amazing partners. How do you measure success, Maritza?
Well, it's difficult because I look at it as every placement is a success,
Right.
right? Every placement that we do, it's a challenge to find units that are affordable, to find landlords that are willing to work with us, and then identify the perfect family to meet the perfect need of the landlord and or vice versa, the landlord to the client. So every placement is a success.
Yeah.
But I measure success in the things we do day in and day out. You know, we have to have a heart of service
Right.
to be in the field that we're doing.
Yeah.
And every story matters. Everyone comes in with a story.
Yeah.
So every story matters.
Yeah. And that's why we have people like you. But what about you, Paul? How do you measure success?
You know, it's different. To Maritza's point, every family, every individual is very different.
Yeah.
But you know, there's nothing more rewarding than being able to hand over the set of keys to a individual or a family, and to see the immense gratitude and happiness and the look on kids' face when they have their own room or when they've got their own apartment. So those are the sweet spots. That's like, okay, that's great.
Yeah.
That works. And I think sometimes we forget, because most everybody has a place to call home every night.
Right.
It's not that way for, you know, a good number of people in our community. So, and not that we take advantage of it, but we may not think about it that often.
Right.
So that's, to me, that's, we did what we need to do.
Yeah.
I also like to add, you know, if clients don't return, that's a success.
Yes.
Exactly.
If clients do not come back into homelessness and walk this path again, we made it. We did it.
Right.
And we did it together.
Yeah.
So
That's
having clients not return.
right. Right.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. So do you all want to share, Paul, do you want to share a success story with us?
Yeah, you know, I kind of get emotional on this one. I hope I don't do it now on camera.
You're good. We're
But
here to support you, Paul.
I had a gentleman that I had worked with for quite some time. It was a difficult placement. Had a lot of opportunities, challenges, and such. And finally found him a unit. He liked it. The landlord loved him, and he was placed. And you know, I hadn't heard from him for a while. You know, he had made it through the case management, you know, period. And you know, you assume that they're doing well and fine. Well, I was cooking Thanksgiving dinner at my house, and my county phone rang. And I looked at it, and I saw the name, and I thought, oh gosh, you know, I hope he's not back on the streets. And I answered the phone, and he said, Mr. Paul? And I said, yes. He goes, this is so-and-so. And I said, yes, is everything okay? Happy Thanksgiving. He says, happy Thanksgiving. He said, I just wanted to call you today on Thanksgiving to thank you so much for working with me and getting in my house. I love my house. It's going great. And it was just, it was surprise, and it was
Yeah, heartfelt.
it was heartfelt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. What about you, Maritza? Any success stories you want to share?
Yes. You know, like I said, every client we place is a success story. But there's one that sticks out. And we recently placed a family of 6.
Mm-hmm.
She is a single mother and had been, unfortunately, in an abusive relationship. She finally found the courage to walk away with her 6 kids. And she had been sleeping from car to car, from her car to house, and would pay for her own hotel when she could.
Mm-hmm.
I think not realizing that she could call the 1-800 number and we would connect her with the resources. But when she finally called the hotline and registered, we got her in. She stayed with us for a short period. And once she was stable enough, she found the courage to apply for a promotional job with her employer. And she got the promotion.
Wow.
She got the promotion. She saved income. She was able to save, towards whatever, to her little items to gather, when we move them out. But she was able to save her money. And quickly after, she found a unit and we got her housed. But the most impactful about this story is that the moment she walked in, she wept.
Wow.
And her words were, "I've never had my own place."
Oh.
So what we're doing matters.
Yeah.
Sure. when we see that side, and for someone to come and say, "I've never had my own place," and the children are, running all over the house like, "Mom, this is mine. We're actually going to live here." Wow. That's impactful.
Yeah.
That's impactful.
Yeah. And that's why we do the work that we do. That's why we do this work.
And on top of that, she was in disbelief how quickly she was able to find resources for daycare.
Right.
She was in disbelief how quickly, when we said we could assist with, utility deposits, she's like, "What?
Yeah.
You guys do that too?" So the fact that we were able to help her and, she did her part. That's what it takes.
That's what it takes.
She did her part. She worked hard. She was definitely encouraged by Chapman Partnership, and she, I can say we definitely left an imprint on her, and vice versa, her to us.
And for her children.
That's right.
That's amazing. So how can the community get involved? Maritza?
Me again? Okay.
Real quick.
So how can they get involved? Come volunteer. Come take a tour. No donation is too small. We have move-in kits that could be, provided for our families when they move out. You can be a donor, be a partner with us.
Yes.
Our mission matters.
Yes. Paul, how can the community?
We can always use additional landlords. So if you're a landlord out there, please go to homelesstrust.org and click on the tab for Rent Connect, and it leads you to a phone number for me or my colleague Yvonne Pinedo with Miami Homes for All, who's an incredible partner, along with our incredible housing navigators. We will make the transition and fill your apartments and your units with individuals that you're happy to have there.
Yes. So thank you, Maritza, and thank you, Paul, for joining us today. This is a very important topic, a housing journey, and also how the community can connect to us and partner with us and help us to continue out our legacy. This is our 30th year anniversary, so we are going to end this year strong. And if you want more information about Chapman Partnership, you can visit our website at www.chapmanpartnership.org. We also want to give a huge thank you to community newspapers for allowing us to utilize this platform so we could connect with the community about Chapman Partnership. And I'll see you all on our next segment. Thank you.